As kids, we find comfort in dolls. They're a fun and delightful companion during playtime. As we grow older, however, these once cherished playthings transform into pure nightmare fuel. The vacant eyes and frozen grins are scary enough. But what happens when a doll stirs in the night and starts moving around on its own? It's scary when you think about it, isn't it? Yes, true. So today, I'm going to tell you about top 10 most haunted dolls around the world. 1. Annabelle. Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll, now imprisoned in special glass case in the collection of the famous paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. Annabelle is so famous that she was the inspiration for a movie and a sequel. In the movie, Annabelle is played by a much creepier-looking doll. In real life, Annabelle has the same sweet face of any Raggedy Ann. Her story, however, is not sweet at all. According to the Warrens, Annabelle was given to a young nursing student named Donna by her mother in 1970. The doll would move around the apartment when Donna and her roommate Angie weren't home. The young women were willing to put up with a doll that moved around on her own, but things soon got scarier. The doll left notes asking for help. Then she attacked Angie's boyfriend. When the young women found blood on the doll's dress, they called in a psychic. The psychic revealed the doll was possessed by the spirit of a girl named Annabelle. The girl's next call was to the Warrens, who took Annabelle out of their hands, putting her in a glass case with a written warning to the unsuspecting, positively do not open. 2. Robert the Doll. Robert was an inspiration for the terrifying Chucky doll of the Child's Play series. Robert is a life-size doll, which is rather unusual in itself. It was reportedly made by the famous Steiff toy company in Germany. It was given to the Florida artist Robert Eugene Otto as a birthday present when he was a child in 1904. His grandfather had bought it while on a trip to Germany. The creepy doll wears a sailor suit that was probably a childhood outfit of the real Gene. Another story has it that the doll was a gift from a malicious voodoo practicing maid, as revenge for some unknown wrongdoing by the family. Stories of the doll's odd behavior began early, with reports of the doll changing expressions and moving around the house on its own. One theory says that Gene himself unleashed the doll's powers by blaming his childhood misdeeds on the life-size doll, who wore his clothes and had his name. Those who lived in the house reported hearing Gene talking to Robert, perhaps not that unusual, but Robert would talk back. As the years went on, Robert's deeds turned darker. The doll is blamed for many misfortunes including financial collapse, broken bones, and car accidents. Robert remained in the Otto family home in Key West, Florida throughout Gene's life and even after his death. The house passed to new owners, who kept the living doll for 20 years. Robert now resides in a museum in Key West, where brave tourists can visit him. 3. Mandy. Mandy is a porcelain baby doll, who was owned for many years by a woman, who claimed that she would hear the doll crying in the middle of the night from the basement she was kept in. Once the owner worked up the courage to investigate, she would only ever find an open window. The strange sounds were enough to scare her for good, and Mandy was donated to the Quesnel Museum in British Columbia in 1991. According to the previous owner, once the doll was no longer in her house, the mysterious crying stopped altogether. Since her permanent placement, there have been stories from staff about encounters with the haunted doll. Lunches would mysteriously disappear from the refrigerator and be found tucked away in a drawer. Objects such as pens, books, and pictures would go missing. Footsteps were heard when no one was around. When she was placed in a room by herself, the staff found papers thrown all around the room as if she had thrown a tantrum. Mandy is also known to play around with electrical equipment, causing it to malfunction. Visitors have claimed to feel uneasy or sad around her. Some say her eyes have a tendency to blink or follow people around the room. Her fingers and head move on their own as well. One visitor was videotaping Mandy only to have the camera light go on and off every 5 seconds. When the visitor's camera was turned on another exhibit, it functioned just fine. Mandy the doll draws loads of curious visitors to the museum every year. 4. Okiku. In 1918, 17-year-old Eikichi Suzuki bought a doll for his sister, Okiku. She quickly became attached to it, even christening it with her first name. But sadly, she died a year later of an intense fever. The family built a memorial altar in her honor, placing Okiku, the doll, at the center of it. Shortly afterwards, the Suzukis noticed that Okiku's hair was growing. Believing that the spirit of their daughter had latched onto the doll, the family donated her to Japan's Manenji Temple, where she is still on display. Her hair continues to grow, and is currently 10 inches long. 5. Ruby. Ruby is a porcelain doll with a penchant for moving around from place to place. Currently residing with the Traveling Museum of the Paranormal and the Occult, she comes from mysterious origins. Her previous owner said she had originally belonged to a little girl in the family, who died while holding the toy. Following that tragedy, she was passed down through generations, until coming to her current residence at the museum. Visitors often report experiencing an overwhelming feeling of sorrow radiating from Ruby. 6. Harold. Harold pretty much tops the list of things that make us say, "Oh hell no." The doll was listed on eBay in 2003, where the seller alleged that his presence in their home caused the death of their cat, the end of their relationship, chronic migraines, and the seller even heard the disembodied voices of children playing in their basement. Harold was passed around from owner to owner for the next several years. He's been rumored to have caused various deaths and illnesses. His last owner was Anthony Quinata, who claims to have exorcised the doll, and has sworn to never speak of Harold again. 7. Joliet. Anna is the current owner of a baby doll named Joliet. Her family has passed down Joliet for 4 generations. All the women in Anna's family have been cursed to keep up a cruel tradition. Each daughter gives birth to 2 children, a boy and a girl. In each case, the son mysteriously dies on its 3rd day of life. Anna has been told Joliet was given to her then-pregnant great-grandmother by a vengeful friend. Soon after, her great-grandmother gave birth to a boy, only to have it die on day 3. Giggles and inhuman screams are heard in the night, coming from the doll. The family claims the cries of different infants can be heard, making the doll appear to be the vessel for all the baby boys lost over the years. The family expects this number to grow as the doll is passed from mother to daughter. The doll comes with a terrible curse, yet the family does not dare part with it. 8. The Pulau Ubin Barbie. Barbie is perhaps the most popular doll in the world. So popular, in fact, that a dead girl requested her from beyond the grave. At the beginning of World War I, the British mistrusted many foreigners in their colonies, and the British Army investigated one German couple, in Singapore, in 1914 as possible spies. The couple was caught, but their young daughter escaped, only to fall off a cliff and die. A shrine was erected in her memory by a local man in Pulau Ubin. At the shrine known as Lady Na Tuk Kong Shrine, you will find a Barbie doll occupying the place on the altar, usually reserved for the statue of a deity. She is surrounded by tubes of lipstick, bottles of nail polish, perfumed water, and other cosmetics people have offered. According to Shin Min Daily News, the man who built the shrine dreamed of a Caucasian girl leading him to a shop and instructing him to buy a Barbie doll there. The girl in his dream also told him to place the doll on the altar in the shrine. Although he did not fully believe that what he dreamed of was real, he managed to find the same store in reality. In the store, he found a Barbie doll, which looked exactly like the one he had seen in his dream. As a result, he bought the doll and brought it back to the shrine. The worshippers go to the temple to pray to a Barbie doll, which is adorned in bracelets, a garland and a necklace. They believe it has supernatural powers to grant fortunes and heal. 9. Amanda. Amanda's beautiful, but haunting face was originally designed by Heinrich Handwerk. But, since 1885, the bisque heads used on their creations have been made by the famous Simon and Halbig Company of Grafenhain, Germany, which was founded in 1869. Many of the heads found on Heinrich Handwerk dolls actually bear the Simon Halbig name impressed into the porcelain, but this particular example does not. Amanda's recent life can originally be traced back to eBay, but no further than that. Since she was sold 3 years ago, she has been bought, sold, traded, and given away more times than can be counted on 2 hands. The ghost that is said to possess her is very active if she does not like you. If she is happy, then she just sits there staring into space. But when she is ready to move on, she begins to wreak havoc in the home she resides in until she is once again sent on her way. 10. Pupa the Doll. Pupa the haunted doll was given to her owner in the 1920s and belonged only to her, until she died in July 2005. The owner was about 5 or 6 years old when she received Pupa. At the time, she lived in Trieste, Italy, but later traveled to the United States, where she eventually stayed. The doll's hair was crafted from locks of its owner's real hair, and Pupa's owner often claimed that the doll would speak to her. she would go on to tell her grandchildren that the doll was her best friend. When Pupa's owner died in early 2005, the family put Pupa in a glass display case with other items. However, Pupa doesn't like being locked in the case and she periodically changes positions. Often she is said to push things around in the display case, with the family reporting hearing a sound like someone tapping on the glass as they pass. When they turn to look, they have seen Pupa's hand pressed against the glass or her legs crossed, when they were not before. One member of the family reportedly managed to catch the doll rising to its feet and walking within the case on video. However, on the 3 occasions he tried to upload the video onto YouTube, the video was obscured with a mysterious thick white film and the words, "Pupa no," scribbled on the film in childish handwriting. So, in this video, we shared with you about 10 most haunted dolls around the world. They are really scary. Many people have died because of these dolls. Can a doll really do something like that? What do you think? Don't forget to leave a comment below.